All right. All right. Anybody out there? Why am I not getting a... What's going on with YouTube? Come on, YouTube. Oh, cool. Alright, I'm getting green, 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 green everywhere. Looks like, alright. Why am I not getting... Okay. Oh, I see. Hey, we got something there. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Art's Place. Looks like I got a good feed tonight. Jim Russell, Ed Kalo. All right, we've got the Kimball grads here. Thanks for coming to the show. We've got a great show tonight. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Scooter McGee, all right, he's here. He also has his own live streaming show that he has every week. Good show. I caught a little bit of it last night. Not a whole lot, but like how it's all set up. So we're going to talk about, let's see, what are we going to talk about tonight? We're going to talk about Mayim Bialik. Is she nuts? Turns out she doesn't like to be called girl. Of all the odd things to be uptight about. Other things we're going to talk about are Donald Trump has agreed to do an interview with Robert Muller. Is that a good idea or a bad idea? I kind of think it's not a very good idea, but we'll delve into that a little later. And it looks like I got a little lock up here on, for some reason on Facebook. Oh, there we go. Now we're moving. The other thing I want to talk about is the volcano eruption in the Philippines. I have a GoFundMe account set up for the people that are affected by that volcano in Camarines Sur Luzon Island, Philippines. And it just started erupting a few days ago, and a lot of the villages around that site, that volcano, have been evacuated. So I'm raising money to get them water, whatever they need, first aid, whatever they need to take care of the situation there. So, if you would please, if you're on Facebook, go to my Facebook page and chip in a few bucks to my GoFundMe account. So far, I've already raised $100 since last night. So I want to give a shout out to the three people who have donated to my GoFundMe account. Lou Schroeder, hey, thank you very much, man. And Steve Epstein, who is a regular listener, watcher to my show. Thank you so much, sir. And Peter Body, he's a true conservative Republican here in Jefferson County, made a big donation of $50. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you. So, Angel Martinelli, thank you for joining in. Gail, all right. So if you could, please send a few bucks. My goal is $1,000. If we could get more than that, that'd be wonderful. I really want to help these folks. My fiance has family that lives near there. Her mother is actually, her hometown is near that volcano. So if you could throw a few bucks in, that would be super. Also, I got another shout out to Bradley Treadle. He's a regular watcher of my show who's been really kind to help me improve the show. He got me some Ethernet cable. So the computer is hooked directly to the modem. So I'm getting a lot better video right now, even though it's a little choppy here and there, but it's a lot better than it has been. So let's get this underway. But not only did he do that, but he gave me this wonderful gift. It is a Star Wars mug where when you put something hot in the mug, the lightsabers come on the mug. It's really cool. And I want to thank Brad for that. I'm going to open it up here. Let's see if I can do that without... And oh, by the way, Bradley has his own company. It's called the Fugly Mug Company. So here's his card. Go to his website and check it out. Maybe you'll find something you like and purchase something from his website. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, Robert, thank you for joining the show. Robert is another regular to my show. He comes to us from all the way from Port Augusta, Australia. So we've got listeners all over the globe. So, got the mug out. Oh, that is cool. Look at that. Look at that. It's got all the different lightsabers. And you put like your hot beverage or your hot toddy or coffee or cocoa. Put it in here and it'll light up. So that is really cool. Thank you very much, Bradley. I will really enjoy that. All right. What else? Oh, getting back to some of our topics for today. Mayim Bialik, who's an actress on the hit TV show Big Bang Theory, and you probably remember her as the precocious 12-year-old on Blossom, which was also another show that I really, really liked. But she's from California, and she's got that herd mentality, so she's got to pick up on the lib, stuff out there. She's a very smart lady. She's got a PhD in microbiology, so neurobiology is what it is. So she's a smart lady, and she's also a devout uh, Jewish Jew, and she is very faithful to, well, faithful to her faith. She's very strong in that sense, and I'm a subscriber to her show on YouTube. So the other day I'm watching one of her videos, and she's talking about how she doesn't like to be called girl. I'm like, oh, well, wait a minute. You are a female, and I'm guessing she's in her 40s right now. I would take that as a compliment. You know, that some guy said, hey, look at that girl over there. Probably were saying, hey, look at that. That's Mayim Bialik. Look at that girl. Is that Mayim Bialik? Now, why would a woman be offended by that? I mean, of all the things to be uptight about, is that. I mean, there are a bunch of other phrases we cannot say these days. I'm a little person. The word we can't use anymore is midget. And to me, I think that is the dumbest thing I'd ever heard, to be all uptight about being called a midget. I mean, really. Whatever happened to the saying, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt? Well, if you're a liberal, then words will hurt you, because they are overly sensitive. Now, I'm in my late 50s, and I've been called a lot of things when I was a little kid. And some of them were just horrible things. But you know what? I dealt with it. I grew up and I said, so what? They're idiots. They're a bunch of a-holes. Who cares? Why do I want to give them validation by saying, oh, I don't like that word. I don't like to be called midget. I don't like to be called retard. You gotta grow up, folks. Otherwise, you're going to be overly sensitive about everything. And that's what's wrong with society today. People are just overly sensitive about everything. That's where this political correction thing has gotten way out of hand and has really hurt society. Because back when I was a young kid, you know, people had to deal with being called names. Now, there are some words I will never, ever say to a colored person. I would never say the N word, or to a woman, I would never say the C word. Because I work in a manufacturing plant, and I work with a lot of women, and my co-worker Crescent, who is now joining us. Thank you, Crescent, for joining the show. I was raised in an era where you don't use harsh language around women. It's just not a good thing to do. Now, we have another co-worker. Well, he's an immigrant. He comes from Southeast Asia. And I've heard him drop the F-bomb a few times. But luckily, excuse me, luckily that was in a meeting. And, I kind of told him, hey, we're working with a lot of women. You don't use that kind of language. That's just not appropriate. So, never use that kind of language again. So, glad I made it an impact on him. Welcome, Amber. Welcome to the show. So, this whole thing about being called a gender word, this whole gender confusion stuff. I mean, there is a fact. You are either born a male or female. No way getting around that. Although there are some people who have been born with both sex organs, and you know, they could deal with that through surgery and that way. So, but I'm talking about in general. Now we're talking about gender identity. It's like, now we have to have a bathroom for this, that, and the other thing. Hey, cut it out. Let's just have a men's and women's room. None of this craziness where, well, I feel like a woman, so I'm going to use the women's room. No. If you have a penis, you don't go into the ladies' room. If you are a transvestite, hey, you know, go in the men's room, do your business in there. Unless you've had the surgery and you've gone full cycle, full change, then you could use the women's room. Now, where I work, we do have a transgendered woman. And she's had the surgery, looks like a woman, has a very low, husky voice, but sweet, sweet lady, love her to death. I would never hold that against her. So, she could use the ladies' room, because she's made the transformation. But I draw a line at where, well, just use the room you feel comfortable with. No. Not going to happen. If you have a problem identifying with the sex and you're either a man or a woman, I suggest seeing a therapist. There are medications out there that help you with that problem. So, getting back to Mayim Bialik, you know, she's all upset because these guys called her a girl. At least they called her a girl instead of the C word or broad. I mean, that'd be pretty rude. If, hey, look at that broad over there. Yeah, I could kind of see her point, but girl, why would you get all bent out of shape about that? Really? What about you folks? You ladies out there. I mean, ladies, I said the proper term. How do you feel about if you're in public and someone said, hey, look at that girl over there, and they're looking right at you? Would you be offended? Or would you, I mean, if you were like over 30s, let's say in your 40s or 50s, would you feel uncomfortable about that? Would you really be uptight with a term like that? I think people are just really going nuts about this. They shouldn't. It shouldn't be exercised, so to speak, about certain words. You know, that that aren't all that offensive. Now, but Mayim Bialik, she's a very liberal person, did wear the pussy hat at the women's rally last year, probably wore it again this year. Here's the deal. She's a devout Jew, follows the faith. She's in a party that hates God, doesn't want God even mentioned at their convention or used. Why would you want to belong to a group that doesn't recognize your faith? And why would you belong to a group that doesn't really elevate people out of poverty? Rather, to keep them in poverty by saying, here, let me help you. Let me give this to you. Oh, I feel so good. Oh, that makes me feel so much better. Crescent says, just a reason to stir something up. I don't think that's serious. More important issues at hand. Well, I agree, Crescent. I mean, I just think it's just a dumb thing to get all riled up about. Also, Gary Pierce, all right, some more Kimball alum joining the show. Great. A party that really doesn't help the poor other than just to keep them poor. I could go on and on about that. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic, shall we? Donald Trump has made an announcement today that he's willing to sit down with Robert Mueller and talk with him under oath. I mean, is that a good idea or is that a bad idea? I'm open to your opinions about. My opinion is, I think it's a bad idea because it opens you up to a whole bunch of problems. One of them is you could be charged with a process crime if you answer incorrectly or have a misremembering of what you said. Welcome, Steve. Steve Epstein is in the house. Jim Bleeker, great. Lissa, all right. We've got someone from the Philippines joining the show. So, I think it's a bad idea. I think Mueller has probably already made up his mind to charge Trump with obstruction, which I find funny because what is there to obstruct? I mean, really, collusion? I mean, as far as I know, collusion is not a crime. And plus, there is no evidence that Donald Trump colluded with the Russians. If there was any collusion, it would be Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Now, they've been doing a lot of colluding. Hillary Clinton gave 20% of our uranium supply here in the United States. What do you call that? I call that not only collusion, but treasonous, because you are handing over minerals that could be used in nuclear weapons to a country that has really not has been friendly to us. The only time they've been pretty friendly was after the fall of the Soviet Union, and Boris Yeltsin was the president of Russia. Uh, and it looked like, hey, we are going to mend fences and we're going to have a really strong ally on terror. And right after Yeltsin term was over and we got Putin, and Putin, he's trying to revive the old Soviet Union. So now we're not on all good terms with the Russians right now. So I'm going to check something really quick. It looks like we're looking good on YouTube. So great. And so Putin is making deals with Iran, who are enemies of this country. I'm like going, you know what? He is making the same mistake that Stalin made with Hitler, because sooner or later, those Iranians, they're going to turn on the Russians. They're going to say, you know what? We want to make Islam the faith of the world, so we're going to, attack. And they have. They've had several terrorist attacks in Moscow and other large cities in Russia. And where do you think the money is coming from? Where do you think the bomb-making material is coming from? They already had a deal with the Chechens. And excuse me. So they've gone through the same things we've gone through. I mean, they had the school massacre at Beslan. So why do they want to do something like that? Well, number one is money and oil. They're getting both of that from Iran. And they could sell them weapons, and they're making money like crazy. Same with the Chinese. And the Chinese have their own problems with Muslim extremists in the western part of China. And that's why I see the parallel between Russia and Iran. And I'm hoping that this uprising or this movement that's going on in Iran picks up steam, and maybe down the road we'll see the mullahs overthrown. And I think what'll probably happen is that once the mullahs are gone, I think the military's going to take over. I think it's going to be a military coup. I think they'll still keep a lot of the Islamic institutions in place, but I think it'll be a little more secular, maybe, but it'll still be a devout Islamic state. It'll probably end up being more like Pakistan, where in Pakistan you do have a ruling government, but it's not controlled by mullahs. All right, Margot Knudsen just sent a message. She is furious right now at Senators Dianne Feinstein and Adam Schiff have accused people like me that are asking for the memo to be released that we are foreign operatives and have foreign agenda. Really? I mean, what are the Democrats worried about? Well, I could tell you what they're worried about. It's going to blow up in their face, and it's going to expose the corruption in the Democrat Party. All right. Steve, I just want, if you didn't catch it, I want to thank you for your generous donation to my GoFundMe account for the folks that have been impacted by the volcano in the Philippines. Hey folks, please chip in a few bucks. I'm trying to help out these folks in the Philippines. My fiance Yolanda has family down there, so whatever you could spare would really be appreciated. Alright, what else is on there? So, I just think what'll end up happening in this interview with Muller is, if you don't know what a process crime is, that's where I like to call real shysterism going on, where people, where you got it, I call an unethical lawyer who uses a way of manipulating a victim or I would like to say someone they're interviewing to get them to make a misstatement so they can nail them in a lie. And that's what happened to Flynn. It got him in a process crime. The most famous one is Scooter Libby, who was nailed in a process crime and he lost his law license. And I still think that George Bush should have pardoned him. Instead, he just kind of commuted his sentence. I thought that was really stupid. I thought that was, really, just not a thing you would do to someone who's been loyal to your cause. So, and everybody in Washington, D.C. knew that Armitage was the one that outed Valerie Plame. But they weren't going to have it. They wanted to nail someone in the Bush administration, and Scooter Libby was the sacrificial lamb. And I think that's what's going to happen to Donald Trump. He's a pretty bright guy, and maybe he could see through this manipulation. He's probably been through so many depositions and discussions where I think he's smart enough to get past this and not get nailed with a misstatement that could come back to haunt him. What I'm hoping will happen is that after this is all done, and there's nothing there's no there, Mueller will, will he fall on the sword and say, hey, nothing there. There's no collusion. Trump spoke to me under oath and said there was no collusion, so there's no obstruction of justice. But we shall see. Now, if there's no, I mean, if Trump could make the statement and under oath and they can't nail him on a misstatement, but they don't believe what he says, and Mueller still gets him for obstruction of justice, then you're going to have a big mess. Because that will be the beginning of the impeachment process. And I think even the Republicans will, they can't look away on that. They'll just say, hey, this guy, he said we have obstruction of justice, even though there's no evidence of obstruction. We gotta have a trial. So we'll have this show trial that will do nothing and just waste a lot of taxpayer money, and the Democrats and the friendly media will go around saying, see, he's lying. And they'll just make up stuff. And this is where, the thing about fake news. And everybody, the liberals they're all in a bind about Trump and the Twitters. And, the way I look at it is, yeah, he's a little crude on some of his comments and he's a little boorish. But you know what? Unlike George W. Bush, at least he's pushing back. George Bush, he just let the media and the Democrats just dump on him. Just dumped on him, and Bush never fought back. Now, Donald Trump is not a career politician, and he's just not going to put up with that bull. So, he's going on the warpath with this Twitter. I mean, what a great tool for the president to get the truth out there. All right, let's see. Man, it looks like everything is going well. Nobody is sending me a message on YouTube, huh? And I'm getting a really good feed on YouTube. So, folks, if you don't like the quality of the video on here and you want to re-watch this, go over to my YouTube page, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment below, and be a regular listener here. And also hit that notification icon. And that way, when I do a show, you will be instantly notified of a show coming on YouTube. And it seems like I'm having a lot better video quality on YouTube than I am here on Facebook. Oh, right. Michael Scott, Jack Cavender. All right, we got a rock and roller in the house. All right, thanks, Jack. So Chelsea Newberg, Robert Neary, another Kimball grad in the house. Great. So, anybody have any questions or anything they want to say? Just make a comment. I will read it, and we will discuss it. So, and another reason why the show is a little later is I've been working a lot of overtime, and I get home like right at 5 o'clock, and I'm usually reading my snail mail or whatever packages I've gotten in the mail to, all right, my friend Bruce Brown, he's doing his live show on YouTube. So if you want to depart this show, you can go over to YouTube and watch Yuri TV, and they are live right now, and they're going through comments. Super. So right after this show, when I'm done here, if they're still online, I will be going over there. Bruce and Yuri, they're a great couple. They live in the Colorado Springs area. Yuri is from Cebu, Philippines. And they do a show on Sundays where they talk about K1 visas. And during the week, Bruce does a live show where he'll one day he'll talk about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and stuff like that. Other days he'll be talking about other topics, about relationships with a foreign partner, or buying property in the Philippines. I mean, a lot of really good topics on their show. So now they're up to 10,000 subscribers, and boy, I would like to get up to 10,000 subscribers someday. That way I could make some money off of my YouTube channel. Steve wants to ask me about my drone business. Yes, Steve, I am moving along here. I'm going to subscribe to a course to get my 107 FAA drone pilot's license. And what it is, it's a series of videos that you watch, and a lot of the questions on their tests are going to be on the exam to get the license. So, and it's a very reasonable price, and it's a lifetime subscription to that site. So if I get my license and then in a couple years I need to renew it, I could go back to the site, brush up, and prepare for the exam on that. And the good thing about getting the license is you need a 70% or more to get the license, which is great. It's important to get the license so that I can make money with the drones. Otherwise, if I start doing business with my drones and I start getting paid, I could get fined up to $11,000. And that's not good. So I want to get all my ducks in a row, get that, get my website up. Pretty soon I'm going to get a domain name. I've already picked the name for the company. It's going to be called Artco Drone Solutions. And what it'll be aerial video or aerial photography with the drone. Most of my work will be with real estate companies. I could do weddings. I could do anybody that wants to hire me to take videos with drone. I could do that. So that's where I'm at on that. I've got my little mini drone so I could practice in my apartment while the weather is bad outside, if it's too windy or too cold. So that helps me get my skills down, which is good because the little mini drone does not have a GPS and it doesn't have auto stabilization, so it takes a lot more skill to fly than with my DJI Phantom 3 standard, where I could program it to tell where the drone to fly, and I could do either video or I could do photography with, which is cool. And it's got a 2.7K camera, which is not bad. It's pretty good right now. The best camera you can get, the best video, is a 4K. And that's for I guess ultra high definition, or high HD, UHD, yeah. Steve says, how do you have so much energy? I need to take a short nap just so I could have enough energy for my long nap. Oh, that's great, Steve. Steve Epstein, comedy with a porpoise. And that's how I know Steve. Even though we've never actually bumped into each other on the road, I would see his photographs at a lot of the clubs that I worked at. And he always had his headshot. He'd have this little plastic porpoise next to his face, like he's talking to the porpoise. And his tagline was comedy with a porpoise, which was, for some reason, that just stuck in my head. And when I ran into him on Facebook, I'm like, oh, hey, I know you. I've heard a lot about you. You're a pretty funny guy. And so we got to be good friends, and it turns out he's a staunch conservative like I am, but sadly he lives in California, which is about to go toes up. You know what, Steve? I just found out that California has the highest poverty rate in the nation. It overtook Mississippi. Mississippi used to be at the top or the bottom, used to have the highest poverty rate in the nation. Now it's California. So you could thank those Democrats that run that state, that you could say, hey, we're number one in poverty, man. Yeah, we may have the Oakland, wait a minute, they're not in Oakland, but we have the San Diego, wait a minute, they're not in San Diego. But the Rams are back in LA, which is cool. Cleve Tidwell is in the house. Thanks, Cleve. Thanks for joining. So here's a little something I just found out today on Facebook. Turns out that one of the state senators in California has the infinite wisdom of, hey, Trump gave everyone all those tax goodies, so we're going to raise your taxes so we could make up for that. Talk about just irony about it. It reminds me of a kid who just got an ice cream cone. He just got an ice cream cone from the ice cream man, and here comes the Democrat, smacks it out of your hand, and it's on the ground, and says, I feel better now, because that ice cream's not good for you. I mean, they're always saying how mean-spirited Republicans are. You know what? It's the Democrats that are the mean-spirited people. I mean, have you heard these people scream and shout on the streets at their demonstrations? I mean, some of the stuff they say is like mind-boggling, and just lunacy. I'm just checking the time. Don't worry. We've got a few more minutes left, and then class will be dismissed. And that's how I view Democrats, is the ones that are mean spirited. They're the ones that don't want you to have a good time. You know, where Republicans they just want to get the hell, or at least most of them, they want to get the hell out of your life. They want you to live your life and have the smallest government possible, the least intrusive, where Democrats actually think you are stupid, you are incapable of taking care of yourself, so give us your life and we'll make it all better for you. That's how that works. So they all sit around and go, gee, how can we make more? How can we get more revenue? What can we tax today? Well, we're keeping the little kids from opening up an ice cream stand or a lemonade stand. Can't have that. But that would just instill capitalism. We don't want any of that nonsense. Oh, yeah. They might be self-sufficient. Who needs that? Government's going to take care of it. We'll take care of you. So, yeah. That's what we're all about. Because we care. Not those meanie Republicans who will just kick you out in the cold, kick you to the curb, and fend for yourself. You know what? Most people would love to just have people just get the hell away, and and they'll thrive greatly. I know a lot of I have a lot of friends that are disabled, and the last thing they want is to be in an institution or in a place where someone's taking care of them, because they want independence. They thrive on independence. If they could go outside and be out in the sun and get to have the pleasure of being out in the sun or being in the snow or drive an automobile. Freedom. That's the number one thing. They want freedom. And a job where they could be self-sufficient, to where they're not a burden on people. Now, I'm not saying that all of them should be like that, because there are some very severely handicapped people that really need help. And those are the ones that we should be helping out. Now, someone like me, where I'm pretty mobile and I get around, and I could take care of myself. Last thing I want is government telling me, "Hey, Art, you can't do that. You can't do this. You can't go out. You can't drive that car. What are you talking? Being a comedian? Oh, you can't do that." And people, oh yeah, well, what if things don't work out? Then your feelings will get hurt. It's all about protecting people from disappointment and falling down and how are you going to learn about life if you don't fall down once in a while and get up and go, gee, I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I'll avoid doing that, and I could move on from that. So, Alan Farina, thank you for joining in. All right, we got a good group of folks here. But before I leave, I just want to make one more plea that maybe Cleve, this is right up your alley. Cleve's been to Japan many times, and he knows a lot about volcanoes and earthquakes and stuff. And Cleve, I set up a GoFundMe account for the folks that are affected by the volcano in the Philippines on the island of Luzon. And I'm raising money to help those folks out, get them water, first aid, whatever they need. A lot of people have been evacuated from their homes in the area of the volcano. It's erupting. It's kind of like Mount St. Helens. It looks a lot like Mount Fuji, only it's active, and it's spewing a lot of ash, and it's ejecting a lot of lava. What I like to call pyroblastic lava. So it's just spewing a lot of lava up there. You should see the video at night of what's going on up there. It is awesome. I mean, awesome thing to see, not awesome for the folks there, and they gotta deal with all that ash that's raining down on their villages, and that really screws up a lot of the machinery there, especially if you have a gas-powered engine. Boy, that can really screw things up. However, turning lemons into lemonade. If some smart person in that area goes, gee, what can I do with this ash that's piling up here? What can I do? What can we make from that? You know what you can make from that. And this was done after Mount St. Helens, when the ash settled in the vicinity. Take that ash, find a glass shop, a glass blower. What'll happen is when you heat that up, it's going to make the prettiest green glass you ever seen. And you can make, I don't know, you can make ornaments out of it, you know, like little dolphins made out of glass, horses, birds. You can make plates, saucers, cups, glasses. I mean, there's so many things you could do with this. And you could say, here's the marketing plan. All right, we got these products made from this volcanic ash. We could say, from Mt Mayon, Philippines. You know, these items are made from the ash from that volcano. So, if you do that, then, you know, that's the Philippine way there, is dealing with what's going on there and turning those lemons into lemonade. So, get on that and let's make a bad situation a better situation. Take advantage of what's going on, and you can make some money out of this. And you get, since that area is a tourist area, it's one of the places I want to go. They have some really beautiful beaches there with the bluest blue water there. Uh, I've seen videos of of that place, and I really want to go there one of these days. Maybe not on this next trip that I'm planning on it a year from now, but maybe down the road when I'm retired and I live there. It's like a 10-hour bus ride from where Yolanda lives. I think Yolanda, or at least where. Anyway, to that area around Mt Mayon. So Chris McKay, all right, another Kimball grad and football player, one of the stars of the. I believe he was the. I think he was the center, if I'm correct. If not, he was probably a nose tackle. I know he was a lineman. He's a big, beefy guy, and so thanks, Chris. Thanks for joining. So please, folks, just give a few bucks. Let's get this thing going. Let's get to that goal of $1,000 in the next few days. If we get past that, that'd be super. So I want to thank you all for joining my show tonight, and I want you to have a blessed and happy evening, and have a great rest of the week, and God bless you. Good night, folks. Let me get to the button. How do I do this? Alrighty, we're finished. Bye-bye, folks. Bye-bye.